RV News. I've written it in flowing paragraphs without headings, maintaining a conversational YouTube-style delivery. Welcome back to RV News, the place where we cut through the noise, break down the latest intel, and bring you the most talked about updates in the world of foreign currency revaluation, global financial resets, and insider reports you won't find anywhere else. If you're holding Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, or any other currency connected to the RV story, then this episode is especially for you. Today, we're diving into the latest developments from Frank26 live intel, the buzz circulating around major banking networks, and the big question on everyone's mind. Are we finally standing at the doorstep of the long-awaited revaluation of the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong? Grab a coffee, take a seat, and let's go deep into the heart of this breaking conversation. Over the years, Frank26 has become one of the most listened to voices in the currency community. Love him or hate him, people tune in because his team has often provided detailed breakdowns of monetary policy changes in Iraq, whispers from high-level contacts, and interpretations of what's happening behind closed doors with both the CBI and the banking system. And now, his most recent live session has shaken the community with bold claims and carefully phrased insights that hint that the RV may not be someday anymore, it may actually be unfolding right now in real time. One of the most powerful points Frank made is that the Central Bank of Iraq is no longer working in hypothetical. For years, we've seen officials talk about studying the project to delete the zeros, planning to stabilize the exchange rate, and considering currency reform. But Frank is pointing out that what we're hearing now is action-driven. Iraq has been aligning its banking sector with international standards, strengthening compliance measures with the IMF and World Bank, and re-establishing confidence with foreign investors. These aren't the kind of moves you make if you're still years away from a global re-entry. These are the moves of a nation preparing to step back into the international financial arena in a major way. Frank26 has also hinted at private-side conversations close to the process are reportedly indicating that the new rates are already sitting inside systems. This is huge. Think about that. For a long time, speculation was that the numbers were theoretical, maybe placeholders, but not functional. What Frank's intel suggests is that the revaluation rates for both the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong may already be programmed into certain digital banking infrastructures, waiting for the exact moment of release. He even mentioned specific phrases like ready to go and awaiting execution, suggesting that the decision-making process may no longer be about if, but about when. This is where things get even more interesting, Frank emphasized. Timing, and timing has always been the most frustrating piece of the puzzle for everyone involved in this ride. He shared that certain U.S. banking institutions have been notified to stay alert for potential activity. Now, you have to be cautious here. Being alert doesn't mean the green light has been flipped on, but it does mean that communication is flowing, banks are being prepared, and certain procedures are being drilled in advance. This is not how banks operate if we were still years away from a revaluation. Banks don't waste resources unless they're anticipating a real and immediate need. As for the Vietnamese Dong, Frank's intel ties it closely to the dinar. Many in the community have speculated that the Dong will revalue alongside or shortly after the dinar. Vietnam's economy is much more export-driven, and their currency has been artificially suppressed for decades. International bodies like the IMF have acknowledged that Vietnam's Dong does not reflect the true productive output of the nation. Frank's live call seems to confirm that Vietnam is not just passively watching Iraq, but that its banking networks are synchronized in certain ways that would allow them to ride the wave together. He went so far as to suggest that once the dinar is launched, the Dong's adjustment may come surprisingly fast, catching many off guard who thought it might lag by weeks or months. Now, let's zoom out and connect this intel to the broader financial landscape. Iraq has been aggressively expanding oil contracts, working with China, Turkey, and European partners. They've secured billions in international investments and are upgrading infrastructure across the board. More importantly, they've been focused on stabilizing the political environment enough to reassure foreign capital. These are the moves of a country preparing to handle a stronger currency and wider economic footprint. Frank's team interprets these steps as confirmation that the dinar is no longer a currency in limbo, but a currency ready to be reintroduced. Globally, at a much stronger level, another key piece of intel Frank brought up is the connection between the U.S. Treasury and redemption logistics. His call hinted that Tier 4 Betha Internet Group, which includes everyday holders of Dinar and Dong, should prepare for appointment notifications. Now, we all know that this language has floated around for years, but the difference this time is that it's being linked directly to live system checks, not just rumor. Frank said the systems are live tested, and the procedures are being checked at certain redemption centers and banks. That means we're no longer dealing with only hypothetical planning. The infrastructure for actual exchanges is in place and being tested. Frank also spent time warning about disinformation. He acknowledged that while his sources are confident, there are forces trying to muddy the waters with false reports and exaggerated timelines. This, he explained, is part of the strategy to confuse the public, discourage investors, and create doubt. So when the real event happens, only the well-prepared will benefit. He emphasized staying grounded, patient, and above all, alert to factual signs rather than sensationalism. If we break down the flow of his live intel, we can see a few powerful takeaways. Number 1, the RV is not a dream, it's a structured process, and that process is in its final stages. Number 2, both Iraq and Vietnam are synchronized in ways that make a dual adjustment more likely than not. Number 3, banks are not passive bystanders, they are actively running system checks, preparing for customer flows, and standing by for signals. Number 4, timing is always fluid, but the positioning is more advanced now than it has ever been before. So what does this mean for us as currency holders? It means we're entering the most sensitive stage of this entire journey. It means double-checking that your documentation is ready, your currency is secured, and that you're not relying on last-minute scrambling when notifications do come out. Frank reminded listeners that those who are prepared will move quickly, and those who procrastinate may find themselves overwhelmed or unready. He also emphasized spiritual and emotional preparations, stand humble, grounded, and ready to use this blessing responsibly, rather than wastefully. Another fascinating point he made in his live intel is about the rates themselves. Now, while he avoided stating exact numbers, Frank used certain words that hinted at rates far above what skeptics have long claimed. He indicated that the values we may see will shock many in the financial world who never believed this event was real. The dinar especially, he suggested, could come out at a level strong enough to position Iraq as a financial powerhouse in the Middle East once again, restoring the pre-war legacy of a currency that was once highly respected globally. For the Dong, his intel suggests that while its rate may not match the dinars in strength, it will nevertheless represent an extraordinary return on investment for those who hold it. Remember, the Dong has been sitting at one of the lowest valuations in the world, suppressed by design. Even a modest adjustment upward would be historic. But if the intel Frank's team has gathered is correct, the revaluation may push it into ranges that go beyond modest and into life-changing territory. Frank's call wasn't just about numbers, it was also about readiness of leadership. He underscored that Iraq's prime minister and the central bank governor have aligned in recent weeks in ways that they hadn't in the past. He suggested that political obstacles that once delayed progress have been largely neutralized, creating a green light atmosphere for the RV. And let's be honest, Iraq has been under immense pressure to demonstrate economic independence and sovereignty. Revaluing their currency is one of the most direct ways to prove to the world that they are no longer a dependent state, but a nation, fully capable of controlling its financial destiny. Of course, this kind of intel stirs emotions, hope, excitement, nervous anticipations, all there. Frank's voice, as always, carried that balance between caution and encouragement. He didn't promise exact dates or lock down guaranteed times, but he did leave listeners with the impression that we are closer than ever and that the shift could unfold at any moment. He specifically urged people not to step away, not to get distracted, because the window we've been waiting for may be opening faster than anyone expected. To put this into perspective, think of how many years this community has endured the roller coaster of hype and disappointment. Every small headline out of Iraq, every minor banking development in the US has been overanalyzed to exhaustion. But when you listen to Frank's most recent intel, you get the sense that this isn't just another